And why is it spicy? Why would you say it is spicy? It's just the USA. Aren't they like the tournament favorites to win it? Wouldn't they just stomp everyone?
Like, you would want to think that. But Russia's really, really good, as it turns out. Like, really good. Like, they actually shared 5 maps last weekend, and Russia won 3 of them, and the United States only won 2. So, you know, obviously it's a new map pool, it's a harder map pool, but this Russia team has a lot of momentum, and I don't think they're intimidated by the United States being the tournament favorites.
Yeah, and I would actually kind of agree with that. Just looking at Russia in the past, they tend to underperform and maybe even tilt sometimes. And last week definitely was not one of those matches. And you did say they pretty much won quite a few picks on there. And Russia, if they are on point, they can perform and be really scary for the US. The US definitely needs to step up, bring their A game, and hope Russia isn't on beast mode.
Yeah, you know, anybody who thought that Russia was a team that's prone to not showing up and is prone to tilting a lot, they went down 2-0 early on in that match against Canada, and then they won 6 straight points. So I think it's safe to say that those days are behind them, and that this squad has the potential to really do some damage against a lot of very good teams. I think probably the biggest thing about these two teams is that they're both so good at playing with that momentum, though. They win 1 or 2 points, and then it just looks like it's all but over right there. So we'll see if one of them can get, kind of that early lead and run with it, or if we see another, kind of come back from a couple points down like last week for Russia.
Right, and if you think about it, it's literally the same, or well, not literally the same, but pretty much the same roster for the Russian side. They didn't really swap out any big key players. They just have mostly the same roster. And it seems like they've just, I don't know, found something and got enlightened this year because of how well they've actually been performing. Maybe it's just the harder pools as well. Maybe they always got kicked off the tournament too early to really shine on extremely hard pools. Wait, wait one second. That was the warm-up? I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep on talking about Russia because this is a warm-up, right? We can talk about the warm-up when it's like in its way, but that was the warm-up.
I don't know what that was, but it was an Aireu Gasha single tap warm-up. So that's one of the ones. Finals pools. So we get to see a little bit more of their skill cap.
All right, I think enough said about the teams and the players. Let's look into the second warm-up, which will hopefully give us an idea of their performance on the day, because while you can always theorize about anything about the skill of players, if you look at last week, I don't think either team played Noma 2. Yeah, they didn't.
Russia played the stream map last week. They
scored,
scored,
yeah, right. I missed that.
They scored 2.9 million on it, so they were kind of in the middle of the road.
Yeah, it's not too hot. But yeah, I'm not sure if the US can really take that information and then immediately go Noma 2 because it's slightly different, or at least different enough so you can't really use that performance as a 100% indication. But I would generally say, looking at the mixed maps, which happens in the like the shared maps between both matches.
To see USA ban a double time pick with their first ban. something in the hidden pool might not be too surprising. It's going to be hidden 1. It's going to be Lapistoria no Yakusoku. It's not, I don't think, too surprising.
While Russia might not want to play the hidden 2, which is approach at 8 on hidden, they're still not a bad hidden team, really. I mean, if you look at one of the shared hiddens, which was hidden 3 last week, Russia would have lost that map by 300k points against the US. And that's not a bad score. That's like just get one player to not 1x miss in the middle, and that's your point to take, right? So, and this map I think is also like a pretty okay map to start off, because if you lose or win this map, there's not a lot of information you give up. Since it's more on the standard side, and the main difficulty of it is some of the overlaps and the length, right? It's pretty standard, some kind of bursty here and there. But if you lose this one, there's another map you can immediately respond with and say, well, they lost this, hence they will lose this too.
And I think, yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of different skill sets represented within this pick. As you said, that ending, like, Ki section feels pretty tough with some of the overlapping sliders and such, but players should be ready to go with that if they practiced it, which I'm sure they have. It looks like we might even be set with rosters here, too. United States bringing in their 2 big carries in Vaxei and idke, one of their main hidden players in Toy alongside fieryrage. Pretty expected type of roster for the US, with the exception maybe of Fiery, but it's the type of map that I'm sure he's solid with. And then Russia, kind of Okinotori, AxewB. I'm going to mispronounce his name because I don't actually know if that's how you're supposed to say it.
I also don't know.
And we're going to get underway here. Map number 1 of our first semifinal here in Oaks World Cup 2019. We've got a lot of fans out there in chat showing their support for their teams as we get underway here with the first pick.
All right, and you see everyone's using no fails. You see people are finally taking it quite seriously. All the remaining teams are teams which are going to take it very seriously. Since even if this map might not have no fail, it just doesn't make sense not to use it. For anyone who's new to this year's new rules, no fail has been changed to 1.0 multiplier, so it has no backfire or disadvantage of using no fail. It's mostly because community tournaments and tournaments in general have opted to go for fail scores counting, and this is our way to implement that. And you are free to choose it. You don't have to, but it would make sense not to. And everyone taking it seriously, something might happen. Your tablet might disconnect. Well, if you tell your tablet disconnect, at least you still can give points to your team, even if you die, because you have no fail.
And I think it's a little bit just a matter of playing safe, because most of these maps don't have a ton of fail potential, but better to be safe than sorry, as you said. If something really crazy happens, let's be the first break of the map coming from AxewB. United States going to take the early advantage with their 4-way still intact in the first Ki here, but Vaxei going to find an early break as well as talala and Alumetri. Wow, that's
a lot of breaks.
Gone. So Toy and Fiery, as idke finds a break as well. Toy and Fiery, the 2 FCs remaining for the USA. Okinotori, the only FC left for Russia. And I think it's going to be interesting to watch a couple players from the USA. You know, Vaxei, I think, by his standards, kind of underperformed last week. And Fiery was playing a little worse than he has been in this tournament. So we're going to see what those two can do. And of course, idke, four FCs last week. Going to try to replicate that kind of performance. But the early breaks from the latter two, not starting out necessarily the way they wanted, but another break from talala means the United States is going to run this lead out even farther.
Might not end up going the way you would have expected it to go when it comes to scrims and practice versus this match currently. I think that is very unfortunate misses, and I think gonna be hard to really come back too much. There's still a possibility it's only 200k points in difference.
Yeah, the problem here is that United States, with Fiery and Toy both holding very high accuracy FCs still, Okinotori the only FC, though he does have incredible accuracy himself for Russia, They have a lot of combo backing it up, but Vaxei and idke are both coming back with their combo as well. idke finding a break on the slider stream. Is that going to matter, though, or is it too late? I think it's probably a little too late here for that to be important, because USA does have a 400k lead going into the outro. Looks like we might be seeing, as Toy loses FC at the very end, I think USA's still got plenty of an advantage. Oh, Fiery and Toy both missing again.
I would argue still 250k, right? It's still 200k-ish, and it's like 10 or 15 seconds left. It's gonna become closer, but it's still, yeah, the damage has been done. It's a win for the United States, the first point. And actually taking the win off of Russia's first pick.
Yeah, that's a I was gonna give an actual score difference, but the MP link seems to be a little broken here.
Well,
yeah, Toy and Fiery, both of those. Yeah, Toy and Fiery, both of those late breaks giving a little bit of hope to Russia. Okinotori did end up FCing with very good accuracy, so you know, Russia not gonna probably feel too bad about that loss, but it was their first pick, so that's gonna sting a little bit. That first map break point, and we'll see if United States can get some momentum going here with their own first pick.
But if you think about it, Russia has the only FC in the entire lobby. Well, they might have still lost, but they've got the only FC. They notice United States isn't, at least on that map for now, hasn't been performing incredibly well as some people might expect it from the US. We'll have to see if this is a trend or just one of the picks where, okay, yeah, it happened, you missed once, it's fine. You know, because players tend to, the better they are, tend to miss less. They don't stop missing, they just miss less. And the only way you can really notice that is if you look over it over a longest period of time. If they truly are on a downswing or if they're actually just with a one-off.
Well, well, well.
It's a Nomad 1!
We have ourselves a first pick Nomad 1. You know what that means in the chat. Get those alert warning emotes ready.
Is this map really a Nomad 1 alert? I mean, it's actually...
It's a Nomad. It's a Roselia track. It's a Nomad 1 warning. I'm sorry. And this is interesting because, like I said, last week we had the United States ban this map out against Australia. But this week it's going to be the Nomad 1 is going to be their first pick. Very, very aim heavy. So we'll see how it goes for them. Team that kind of strayed away from the heavy aim picks last week, jumping right into them now.
I'm not too surprised about the roster for the United States. Makes sense. All pretty good aim players in there. Russia Federation, the Russian guys do not have any players lacking in aim. They have pretty good players when it comes to raw aim and just raw skill in general. I think this could probably be pretty close to like hidden one. I can see like 1 or 2 misses defining this match, pretty much. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how it tends to go with aim picks. You know, it's like 1 or 2 people missing on a big jump section that typically will determine the winner and loser pretty quickly. So that consistency of aim is going to be at a premium here. And like you said, kind of the expected roster for the United States and Russia here. I think Aireu and DigitalHypno coming in to replace Toy and fieryrage because those are 2 guys that are very well known for their aim. I feel that we'll probably see Vaxei and idke in for most, if not every map, unless there's something that really doesn't favor them. You know, Russia going to bring in the infamous Gasha, everybody's favorite. And we'll see if Russia can get the immediate breakpoint back or if the United States can capitalize and get that early consolidation, go up 2-0 as we are underway with map number 2, Louder by Roselia. 7-star aim pick here in the Nomad pool.
Fun map pooling fact, this map was 6.8 stars and we adjusted it with the mapper to be more akin to 7 stars, so it fits the difficulty. Because finding very specific, consistent aim difficulty maps is quite hard on higher levels, without just it being one single spike.
These are the types of maps that, to me, always feel really, really tense, because...
Oh, because you can just miss aim just slightly.
You can just miss!
Visual.
Fortunately for him, very beginning of the map, that's within the first 300 combo. But it is going to give Russia a small early advantage. We'll see what they can do with it as we get a little bit of client lag here. Hopefully we'll be back shortly.
You see Red Pixel going for the no fail. Oh boy, let's hope he doesn't see his tablet or just something happens at the end. There's no fail potential here really. Fail potential is mostly for specific maps, if they have like a huge spike at the end, or some harder picks. Or, well, free mod too, like if you have the harder player playing.
And we seem to have Alumetri missing here, so we're going to keep tabs on that and see if he makes it back in, if that's a disconnect, or if he is just lagging behind a little bit as we see these big aim sections coming into play.
But I think that was after 15% of the map, wasn't it?
It was pretty close, but yeah, I believe that was late enough that it will not force a restart. We're going to see what happens with that here. First break for Russia that we're going to see on screen is going to be from Okinotori there at the very end of that section. So that's going to be the USA with a combo advantage. Obviously going to be a little dependent on what's going on with Alumetri. The other two, Gasha and Red Pixel, still have seeing Aireu finding a break for the USA. Vaxei and idke still on those FCs, and this big aim. Oh my gosh, that's a bunch of misses.
Oh boy. And it's hard to trust the score at the bottom because you literally are missing a fourth player from the Russian side.
Yeah, it's hard to say what's happening.
Well, it's easy now to say because we have only 2 FCs from the United States, and even if Alumetri is FCing... Oh, he's back,
Oh, what? Okay. And he's back where he was.
Oh, he's so far behind, yeah. So
we're gonna see... Yeah, they may have 1 FC at most, but United States has still 2 alive, and Okinotori with another break, Gasha and Red Pixel without much combo. So United States is... Okay, Alumetri did break that second there.
I was about to say, if Alumetri has an FC, he would have 500k points, which actually would put Russia kind of on a similar pedestal, or maybe even slightly ahead. But he missed, so it doesn't really matter. I feel this looks really good for the US.
I think with Vaxei and idke still FCing and Russia seeing several breaks, I'm pretty sure this is going to be United States regardless of what Alumetri does. This is kind of interesting to watch him like literally a minute and a half behind everybody else, but this looks like it's United States kind of regardless here with those 2 FCs still going. Very, very impressive stuff from Vaxei and idke. Axei and vidke. Pronunciation is hard, okay?
Look, it's fine. Just let me pronounce the players' names. I'm a stupid European. I can't talk English.
And this is, boy, if this is a double FC here, that's what we wanted to see out of the United States with those 2 players that we've been talking about so much. And that is a double FC. Vaxei and idke, the stars of the show here. United States going to take this point. It's not going to matter what Alumetri did because that is a 900,000 point advantage. So his score is going to be more or less irrelevant to the final result of this map, though we do get to see him playing a little solo Osu here. There we go.
Alright. You did talk about those 2 players, about just their ability to scale of the map pool pretty well. And I was kind of scared and careful when it came to like creating a storyline of this pool might probably have like 1 or 2 carry players, and United States definitely has some carry players. With that, I think would be a bit unfair to the rest of the team, because I think literally every single player on the United States roster can end up carrying a single map by himself. What I would say Vaxei and idke probably will tend to carry more frequently.
Yeah, Vaxei and idke definitely the 2 that are going to play a lot of the maps and do very well on them. You have Toy for stuff like the Air 8 hidden or just hiddens in general. You have fieryrage and hard rock. You have Tony, T bracket dash underscore dash T bracket.
Smiley guy.
Yeah, for things like DT picks. So, you know, the United States has kind of a couple people that can do everything, and then several people that can fill incredibly well in their particular areas of expertise, which I think is a big key to their dominance.
Ooh, and by the way, while you were talking, Fremont 1 has been picked, which is kind of similar to last week's Fremont mod. It's a bit different. Last week was more like big circles, and this one is just like alternate, maybe a single tap, low BPM alternate, if you want to call it that. But fun fact, last week's Fremont 1, both the US and Russia played it, and Russia would have won by 400k. So them picking Fremont 1 might not be too weird or like too surprising. It's kind of similar, I would say. So let's see if Russia gets a similar performance.
Yeah, I mean, they looked really good. Their score on last week's Fremont 1, as you said, was super solid. I do think one of the big things about this pool is that it just gets harder. The pool obviously scales from week to week, and this being semifinals versus quarterfinals, you're going to see a bit of an increase in star difficulty and actual difficulty of the maps. So we're going to see maybe a quick refresh here, getting fieryrage into the match. We're going to have it's like Vaxei running, I keep doing that, Vaxei running no mod, idke hard rock toy hidden, fiery with a mod to be determined. On the other side, Okinotori hidden, unsurprisingly, and Alumetri with hard rock. And the others, so we're going to see 4 no mods, the required mods for each team.
Yeah, so we see just the basic mandatory mods being used. You have to have 1 player on hard rock and 1 player on hidden. I can say after this stage, except for maybe the CS5 Approach 8 map, which is Fremont 3, I would say you would always expect to see this kind of setup. Don't forget,
go ahead.
This is 250 BPM, approach at 9 flat. So if you go hard rock on this, it would probably only because of the approach rate. But idke, the first one missing. This one on map on hard rock is not that easy.
And idke finding a second break already. Alumetri, his opposing number there with the hard rock for Russia, still keeping his FC. So it's going to be Russia taking a bit of a noticeable early lead here, with idke being a couple hundred combo behind now, and Zach suffering accordingly. But Okinotori, the hidden player for Russia, going to find their first break, quickly followed by Follon, both on that triangle pattern. And Alumetri breaking his hard rock as well. That is 3 FCs gone in about a 50 combo margin from Russia. That is not what they wanted. Vaxei still assessing, Poi and Fiery both with their FCs still intact. So that lead's going to go right back over to the USA. We'll see if they can run with it here. About a third of the way in. These slider sections, pretty tricky, and as you said, especially with that hard rock, not the easiest thing in the world to aim.
Yeah, and take a note on idke and Vaxei, both. Idke going for the hard rock, probably taking the L, because Vaxei or fieryrage could have also gone hard rock, as well as Toy. Literally everyone on the roster of US could have gone hard rock. But maybe they just want Vaxei to get the definite FC, or like a higher chance of FC.
Yeah, I think that's probably the mindset, is Vaxei is your best player, and Toy is really, really good at hidden, with idke being really, really good at hard rock. So just let Vaxei FC or nearly FC at worst with no mod, and you can kind of tank a mod if need be, but you know Toy is probably going to do fine with his hidden. We do see idke finding another break, but Okinotori had broken shortly before, so just kind of a combo reset. Still 3 FCs alive from the United States, and accordingly, you know, a 300,000 point lead in their favor as well. This one again going pretty heavily in the USA favor.
Right, idke just needs to outperform a single member of the enemy team, because he can trust his team to do the rest, which for now they're pretty much doing. I mean, look, it's 3 FCs, you can't really complain.
Yeah, and he is still, you know, matching score or close to it with literally 3 members of Russia, despite the couple breaks he's found. Follon breaking once again on the Russian side. United States 3 FCs, it's really hard to compete against that. And Red Pixel doing everything he can, keeping his FC alive, but it's just not going to be enough at this rate, because the rest of his team is not quite backing him up as well as he would like, with yet another break from Follon. Still a 3-way from the United States. This is pretty dominant here with just the last quarter of the map to come.
And an interesting fact is actually the entirety of Russia is alternating, while 3 people in the United States are single tapping. Which on the last week's Fremont 1 you couldn't single tap it. It was a pure alternate pick. So maybe that slight difference in BPM, this one being 256 and the last week being 150-ish, probably is the difference of Russia would be more comfortable on like a fixed alternate map, and USA just saying, well, screw it, we're just gonna single tap it.
Let me see, Russia, no FCs left, Red Pixel finding a couple breaks. Vaxei Fiery still holding those 2 no-mod FCs for the USA. This is, well, we talked about the USA being insane in late rounds, and I guess this is why Fiery finally breaking at the very end, but Vaxei the FC, Fiery the near FC, Toy backing them up, idke with a very solid play on the Hard Rock pick, and that is, well, that's nearly 1,000,000 points. That's United States winning. I guess it's not quite. It was 850 something. That is the United States going up 3-0, 2 break points. Off to the races is the American team here in this match.
I think this map was a combination of 2 things, which is Russia just missing more than they probably wanted to, and the US just performing really well. Like that's a solid performance. So we finally see a big gap in a score. Last map was just US also performing well with the 2 FCs, and the first map was pretty close, mostly because US did miss quite a bit. So it seemed to be a fluke for now. Because the US has definitely stepped up the performance from the first pick. But now is the question, can Russia step up their performance? Because I think they still can perform a lot better than they do currently. But is it maybe not their day? Or maybe just the maps slightly outscale them, they don't feel too comfortable? Who knows? It's only something they know on the practice runs. I mean, even the US kind of suffers from that. Like Toy, for example, I've seen like almost every map except for 1 in scrims, and when it came to the match itself, I think he see like a single one, or like was mostly bottom scoring on his team. So things can happen, even though you're expecting for it to go differently.
I think finding the best average between scrim and practice performance and in-match performance is just like the most important thing. Living up to the expected performance level for yourself and for your team on a given map is just huge. And the USA typically tends to do a very good job at that. Like you said, Toy with a little bit of an off week versus his performance in their practice last week. But still, you know, putting up scores that were good enough for the team to win maps, whereas, you know, maybe Russia this week not quite living up to what they needed to be competitive here so far. And that's a Hard Rock 1 pick from the United States coming out. So it is going to be Tenno Hirade Odoru. This is very near in star rating to Nomad 1. It's the only other 7-star outside of the tiebreaker in the pool. Another decent BPM pick too. We go from a 256 to a 215 going from the free mod now to the Hard Rock pool. And I think this is a... Go ahead.
I think you can pretty much just take a similar step as Nomad 1. I think this was a pretty good idea, because Nomad 1 does have a counterpart, which is Hard Rock 1. I did say the Hard Rocks are definitely more on the harder side, and the US, I think, did it pretty well. I think it was a pretty clever choice, or like order of picks. They went for Nomad 1, which is safer, and see how the Russians are feeling about aim, and they just did not form at all. And then now they can respond with Hard Rock 1, which is a bit more questionable, but because of the information they got from the Nomad 1 pick, I can definitely say this one is way more favored to the US than they would have said it when they would have first picked it in the match, right? So I think it's just a good idea, because Russia is a good Hard Rock team. You do not underestimate them on Hard Rock.
Also, really kind of small random aside, this song was picked as a warm-up in a match last week, not the same map of it. Was that, I guess it was after this was probably picked for the pool, but I just thought that was kind of funny because it's the same background and everything. Somebody picked this song as a warm-up and it was a similar star rating.
They took the top def of the song, of this map set, I believe. And we actually didn't get it from there because I just downloaded a bunch of unrigged maps and found it this way. and we didn't find it explicitly through the warm-up. It was just something Kano, for example, mentioned. I didn't even think about it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was just a funny coincidence.
Yeah. Once again, though, United States off to a good start on this map, as we do see Gasha and Talala with early breaks, Follon breaking as well. USA is still 4 FCs live. So, first break, though, going to come from fieryrage. We'll see if they can hold up their aim like they did on the first on the Nomad 1 pick. Follon finding yet another break, so Alumetri, the only FC alive for Russia. I feel like Russia's kind of taking turns having one player performing well, but the other guys just kind of falling a little bit behind. Toy and Talala matching breaks in Alumetri now. No FCs left for Russia. You know, you just keep seeing... Oh! Vaxei? The slider break! Oh my goodness!
Oh my god, that's horrible. I was about to say it's the same situation as Nomad 1. You see Vaxei and idke just performing really well and the rest not, and then Vaxei misses on pretty much the easiest part of the entire map.
Dude, that slider velocity change, man, it'll get you. But fortunately for the United States, they do still have that that wildcard slot. idke with the FC still alive. Russia with a couple more misses. That's Follon and Alumetri both breaking. I have to come to the conclusion that this is kind of just not Russia's day, maybe, because they're finding some unlucky breaks that are unexpected from players of their caliber. So just a little bit of underperformance on a pool this hard can mean, you know, in early, it's almost a 4-0 deficit as we come into the last third of this map.
Yeah, Alumetri, for example, just missing on a quad by just not pressing one button properly, or like coordinating one button properly. It's not really a reason, or like he didn't really miss, for example, on a big jump where you would expect, hey, this is the hard part, miss on it. Just a few uncharacteristic misses, yeah. I definitely think that Russia can perform better, but this might not be the day. Maybe there's a later stage going on for them, or maybe they just got unlucky and picked everything they would underperform and be worse at US. Maybe there's still some maps left they can maybe go for.
And another couple uncharacteristic misses at the end here from Gasha and Talala. I mean, I would almost hazard a guess to say that a 4-0 score here for the United States is a bit of a death knell for Russia. 4-0 is mentally a huge obstacle to try to overcome, especially when it's been the United States just dominating every pick here pretty much. idke with the FC, Vaxei with the S rank, just that one slider break, Toy 1 miss, Fiery 2 misses. I mean, how do you compete with that on a pool this difficult? It's very tough, and Russia finding just those few misses here and there and falling way behind because of it.
I think at this point you trying to look towards the coin flips, trying to look towards something you might feel more inclined to go for, which is maybe double time. I think double time is still open completely. Well, completely.
Yeah, the two maps. Yeah, there's two maps
left, right?
Yeah,
it's untested. Let's put it that way. It's untested, and both teams are pretty good double time. It's still something Russia can maybe use. I think United States, after winning Nomad 1 as hard as they did, I think it was just clear that they're gonna get 2 points out of aim, but there's nothing really left which reminds you of how they won a Nomad 1. So they don't really have a guaranteed third point. So this is the point where you either go for the coin flip or maybe trust in double time, see if you get something there. Coin flip for me would be, for example, Sleepy T, something you can try, and perhaps the alternate map.
Because they're gonna go decisive battle.
That's decisive battle. Oh man. Okay.
So we're getting another. We're playing the BPM game here today. We're going 195 BPM Nomad, 256 BPM Free Mod, 215 BPM Hard Rock, and now Russia opting into the 226 BPM Nomad. So I question the pick based on how this match has been going so far. I really don't know about this one here.
So what I think is you want to try eliminate the carry potential out of United States as much as possible. And this pick, in some sense, is something which kind of follows that. It's, I think, one of the easier maps in the pool. It's the only carry potential you have on this map is because of the length. It's 4 minutes. But if you think you have a solid form and lineup you can see this on, I think that's the best way to eliminate the carry potential, which you saw in the last 2 maps of the United States. Are there better picks out there? Maybe. Depends on how Russia feels about 4-way FCing or just FCing in general. Maybe this was the best pick in Russia's eyes.
We'll find out here shortly, I believe, as players are in the lobby and going to be getting ready to go. But you were talking about kind of the little bit off the wall oddball picks. I don't want to say RNG because that sounds so negative, but things like Sleepy Tea or even like a nothing but theory, where you have a completely different skill set than we've seen in this match. I would have expected something more along those lines. But we're going to get underway here. Map number 5 is going to be Decisive Battle with the Fugitives from the Nomad pool. And it's safe to say, I think, that this is a must-win for Russia. United States 5-0 with their own pick would be, let's just say, putting themselves in a pretty good position to be successful in this match.
Right. If United States is 5-0, they can start going for the coin flips, and it's on their terms, right? Maybe Russia doesn't want to go for the coin flip, and United States being in that much of a leading position, it's a possibility.
Looks like we're having a little bit of trouble getting into the map here. I know. Okay, maybe an abort. It looks like somebody was not able to load into the map, so gonna be restarting this one. Hopefully it'll sort itself out here. We got Apraxia, Vaxei, idke, and Toy. So, as we expected, Vaxei and idke playing everything for the USA. Russia similarly relying on kind of similar rosters in a lot of their picks. We've seen a lot of Alumetri, we've seen a lot of talala.
I'm getting some inside information. A player who has played a scrim yesterday against the Russians has said the Russians were so much better yesterday. So our thought, or like our I guess the way of underperforming, or we thought they would underperform, is actually true because they were so much better yesterday. Thank you for the inside player who just messaged me to give me that information. I'm not gonna say who it is.
Yeah, a good reporter never reveals his inside sources.
Exactly, you don't reveal your sources, you just don't.
OMG4 is the Adam Schefter of Osu Esports, or the Jacob Wolf. The Jacob Wolf of Osu Esports.
Oh boy.
In the League of Legends scene, reporting on all the
You're giving me too much credit. And literally it's just some Austrian guy who puts maps in a pool.
Well, that notwithstanding, we are going to see Toy, first break from the United States, but he'll be matched by Follon. So 3 FCs to 3. Early stages here. As you said, very, very long map. This one's 4 minutes, so there's plenty of time for any sort of thing to happen. And I think this pick has a lot going on in it. There's, there's bursts, there's streams, there's aim. As we mentioned, the higher BPM still staying in play with this being 226. It's a break from talala, though. 2 FCs gone now from Russia. And it's felt like that higher BPM has favored the United States so far. But like we were saying, you got to find a roster that works. And if this was something that performed well in a scrim, then you'd pick it and just hope that you can get your act together a little bit. But we still have Apraxia, idke, and Vaxei all FCing for the United States. Toy getting his combo back up, just missed in that first 130 combo. Vaxei, in fact, Apraxia, in fact, idke, in fact. By the way, we're not going to talk about their scores because we're just going to leave them be. We're going to watch Russia here and see what they can do as Alumetri finds a break. That's now 3 FCs gone for the Russian squad. Red Pixel, the only FC left alive. A lot of maps still to come. We're only a third of the way through here, despite it being almost 800 combo in. But this one's already looking like it's going to go pretty USA favored. The score gap isn't that large because the map is so long, so the scores aren't that high. But that's yet another break from talala. Russia struggling a little bit here. Break from Red Pixel as well.
I don't know. This is looking really bad for the Russian side. It's just not their day, potentially.
Well, there's a break from Apraxia, and we saw a break from Toy just a bit ago. And guess who? You have Vaxei and idke still holding on to the FCs. I didn't want to talk about anything because they had 3 SS ranks through about 600 combo. That is no longer, of course, the case. Russia, though, doing all right with their combo with Follon at over 1,000, Alumetri building back up, but it's just hard to compete against double FCs.
Yeah, especially when you don't really have a single one. You might have a almost FC with Follon, but you don't want to have an almost FC when it's literally your life on the line. Here, okay, it's not the last point. Let's not over exaggerate too much, but chances are they're not gonna survive the last pick out of the United States.
And this is, I don't know. I mean, Toy is actually struggling a little bit on this one, so maybe still not over whatever issue was affecting his play last week. Notably, it's a little bit earlier than I think he usually plays most of his matches, so maybe blame the time of day. But Vaxei idke, just a 2-man carry squad here for the United States. It's a 400k lead and not showing any signs of letting up. The United States just truly looking like the dominant force in this tournament as they continue to kind of rampage through this and many of these other picks.
There's not a lot you can really say here except the map is almost done, and the 400k lead, or almost 500k lead, is not looking too hot.
Yeah, talala, Alumetri both missing again near the ending here, and that's, well, so, I don't know, what do you talk about besides Vaxei and idke just double FCing yet another map? I mean, they're just making this pool look easy, and it really isn't, because they're insanely good. And that's the United States 5-0 with a 500k plus victory there, about 580,000 just shy. And you kind of just throw up your hands in awe of what the United States is doing here, because Russia has looked so good. They're underperforming a bit, but United States is still playing just insane OSU right now.
No, they're clicking some circles, man. Definitely. But man, it's hard. It's hard. Maybe they went into this match with a certain set of like just expectations, and they can't follow through on it, and might have just maybe given up at this point. Alumetri saying sorry, really. Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a grin pick. It's Hard Rock 3.
Man.
You gotta love it. The United States throwing caution to the wind here with the 5-0 lead, saying we're picking the 130 BPM Hard Rock CS 6.5 map. Oh my gosh. This will be fun. But, you know, we talk about this seemingly every time there's a United States match, where it's so hard to play against this team because you know how good they are as the opponent, and you have to somehow try to keep that out of your mind and just go out and perform the best you can. But I think at the back of your mind, you always know, oh god, they're probably two-way, oh god, they're probably three-way, because in all likelihood, they probably are two-way or three-waying on any given map. And just trying to compete with that mentally as well as in terms of performance is so
banned Hidden 2. Maybe not comfortable against the United States. That's more like, I think, a Russia weakness than like a US could potentially two-man carry that map. So I would say the best thing Russia could have done is maybe just practice a lot more approach 8 to not have to ban Hidden 2.
Team of the United States closing it out. That is a 6-0 sweep for the United States over Russia to move into our winners bracket final with a Toy FC and a Tony Near FC. What can you say about this team other than they just looked unstoppable?
I know, good individual performance from Russia, but generally underperforming. A beautiful score by Alumetri, but it just wasn't meant to be today.